World War II, a conflict that engulfed nations, drawing in millions of soldiers and civilians alike. It was a time of unprecedented destruction and loss, with battles raging across Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. The world had never seen such widespread devastation, with entire cities reduced to rubble and countless lives lost. The war's impact was felt in every corner of the globe. In its shadow, a new terror was being forged: the atomic bomb. Scientists worked tirelessly in secret laboratories, racing against time to unlock the secrets of nuclear fission. This ultimate weapon had the potential to obliterate entire cities in a flash. A single bomb could wipe out tens of thousands of lives in an instant. The race to control this power became a terrifying subplot to the war itself. Nations scrambled to gather intelligence, employing spies and covert operations to gain an edge. The United States, driven by fear that Nazi Germany might develop the bomb first, poured resources into the Manhattan Project. This massive scientific endeavor brought together some of the greatest minds of the time. This top-secret endeavor ultimately gave birth to the atomic bombs that would devastate Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. The world watched in horror as the true power of the atomic bomb was unleashed. But what if history had taken a different turn? What if the events that led to the creation and use of the atomic bomb had unfolded differently? What if the Nazis had won the race for the atomic bomb? The implications of such a scenario are chilling. A world where Nazi Germany possessed nuclear weapons would have been a vastly different place. It's a chilling thought, one that could have rewritten the course of history. The balance of power would have shifted dramatically. The very notion sends shivers down our spines, forcing us to confront a world forever changed by the darkest chapter of human history. The shadow of nuclear war looms large, a stark reminder of the destructive potential that lies within human hands. The truth is, Nazi Germany was indeed engaged in its own nuclear research. Led by physicist Werner Heisenberg, the German effort faced significant obstacles. They grappled with limited resources, scientific setbacks, and the constant disruption of Allied bombing raids. Perhaps most importantly, their understanding of nuclear physics lagged behind that of the Allied scientists. The complexity of enriching uranium to weapons-grade levels proved to be a hurdle they couldn't overcome in time. But what if those hurdles had been cleared? What if a different chain of events had unfolded, one where German ingenuity and ruthlessness had prevailed? Imagine a scenario where German scientists achieve a critical breakthrough. They solve the puzzle of uranium enrichment, perhaps a stroke of genius or a chance discovery that accelerates their progress. Picture a top-secret test site somewhere in the desolate expanse of occupied Europe. The date is sometime in 1944, perhaps even earlier. The air crackles with anticipation and fear as the countdown echoes through the bunker. Then a blinding flash, a deafening roar, and a mushroom cloud climbs into the sky. The Nazi atomic bomb is born. With this terrifying new power at their disposal, where would Hitler's gaze fall? The world held its breath, wondering where the next devastating blow would land. The Nazis had already shown their ruthlessness, and now, with the potential of nuclear weapons, the stakes were higher than ever. London, still reeling from the Blitz, would have been a prime target. The city had endured relentless bombing, and its people had shown remarkable resilience. Yet the threat of a nuclear bomb was a different beast altogether. A single bomb could have crippled the British capital, shattering morale and potentially knocking England out of the war. The advancing Soviet forces on the Eastern Front could have been another target. A nuclear strike here could have changed the course of the conflict dramatically. A nuclear strike against a major Soviet city might have halted their advance, altering the balance of power in Europe. The ramifications of even a single atomic bomb detonation on a major city are almost too horrific to comprehend. The sheer scale of destruction, the loss of life, and the long-term environmental impact would have been unprecedented. Hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, vaporized in an instant. The immediate aftermath would have seen cities reduced to rubble, with survivors facing unimaginable horrors, countless more succumbing to radiation sickness in the agonizing aftermath. The long-term health effects, the suffering of the survivors, and the haunting Memories would have left an indelible mark on humanity. The successful development and use of atomic bombs would have been a game-changer in the truest sense. It's plausible that Hitler, armed with such power, could have forced a negotiated peace, redrawing the map of Europe in his favor. Imagine a world where the swastika flew unchallenged across Europe, a continent under the iron fist of Nazi rule. The horrors of the Holocaust, already unimaginable, might have been amplified on a scale too terrible to contemplate. With the threat of nuclear annihilation hanging over the world, dissent would have been unthinkable. Opposition movements would have been crushed before they could even begin. The global political landscape would have been reshaped entirely. The United States, while likely continuing its own nuclear program, would have been forced to confront a nuclear-armed Nazi Germany across the Atlantic. The Cold War, if it occurred at all, would have been a very different conflict. The Soviet Union, weakened or possibly even conquered, would have been a shadow of its historical self. The very fabric of international relations, built on diplomacy and the fragile balance of power, would have been shredded. In its place, a world living under the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. Beyond the geopolitical implications, the human cost of a Nazi atomic bomb is almost impossible to fathom. The horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki provide a chilling glimpse into the destructive power of these weapons. But in the hands of the Nazi regime, driven by racial hatred and an insatiable thirst for power, the potential for genocide on an unimaginable scale becomes a terrifying reality. This alternate history serves as a stark reminder of the responsibility that comes with scientific advancement. The pursuit of knowledge, particularly in the realm of nuclear physics, must be tempered with a deep understanding of its potential consequences. The atomic bomb marked a turning point in human history, forever changing global politics and warfare. Its destructive power was unprecedented, capable of obliterating entire cities. The scientists of the Manhattan Project were aware of the ethical dilemmas their creation posed. The nuclear age brought both technological promise and the threat of annihilation. Nations grappled with the implications of this newfound power, balancing hope and fear. The thought of a Nazi atomic bomb is chilling. Its destructive capabilities in the hands of such a ruthless regime serve as a stark reminder of the importance of preventing nuclear proliferation. The course of the 20th century would have been irrevocably altered, with potentially catastrophic consequences for global stability and peace. The addition of nuclear weapons would have escalated the devastation of conventional warfare. Exploring these dark possibilities highlights the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance and diplomacy in maintaining global stability. The lessons of the past remind us of the need for continued efforts towards disarmament and peace. It is our shared responsibility to ensure that future generations live free from the shadow of nuclear annihilation. As we grapple with the complexities of the 21st century, the spectre of nuclear war still looms large. The lessons of the past, both real and imagined, serve as a stark reminder of the stakes involved. The pursuit of peace, disarmament, and international cooperation is not merely an idealistic notion, but a necessity for the survival of our species. The future of humanity may very well depend on our ability to learn from the mistakes of the past and forge a new path forward. One defined by diplomacy, understanding, and a shared commitment to a world free from the threat of nuclear war. Let us reflect on these lessons and strive to build a future where peace and cooperation prevail, ensuring a safer world for generations to come.